Yes, yes.
1 year Mojave review video. Take one. September 28th will be 1 year since we had our Gladiator Mojave, and a lot has happened in that entire year.
I should let go.
We have no background in off-roading.
Right.
We had an old GMC Sierra truck, and we would always try to go out on these adventures, and we just didn't have enough faith in the truck.
Right.
So we bailed on a lot of things. So we looked at getting rid of it, and we needed something that could flat tow behind our RV, because we were still traveling full-time on the road.
Well, and also Max had outgrown the back seat of the Sierra. Like, he was scrunched up, like practically knees to chest.
Yeah.
So we needed something, yes, that we could flat tow, and we also needed something that our giant child could fit in. But as far as the flat towing, all the research you do, it comes back to Jeep.
Right. It's just the easiest. Everyone, and when you, especially when you see like Class A's going down the road, you see them towing Jeeps.
Right.
It's because they're just very easy to hook up. They're very easy to get into that flat towing sequence that you need to flat tow them in. So we started flat towing it, and then we started finding out about all the stuff that you could do with the Jeep, and then that is when we went down the Jeep hole.
Right.
We're glad we did though. First Jeep trail we did was Peter's Mill Run, and this was in Virginia. It was just a dirt road, now that I look at it. It's a Jeep Badge of Honor trail.
It is.
But it was our first real foray into off-roading.
Right. And they're having no experience, you know, in the GMC. All we'd ever driven on was dirt roads, washboard roads, you know, getting to and from boondocking spots.
Yeah.
Nothing ever crazy.
Right.
So there were a couple of spots on that trail in Virginia where, you know, the person we were with kind of helped guide us through, and you know, things were a little scary.
Right. We didn't even narrow down. It wasn't even one of those things.
We didn't even know. Like,
we completely bashed the lower control arm going up a rock. Right then is when it started our path of purpose-filled upgrades.
Yep.
So the first thing we did after that, the first mile we did was we put lower control arm skid plates from Rusty's Off-Road out of Alabama. And those things we have beat the hell out of those things. I still see Gladiators with some of these without this area protected, and I just cringe. I'm sure you could just beat it to hell and everything will be fine. But we just like to have the extra protection there.
And that peace of mind.
Oh yeah.
You know, when you hit that spot, you can hear it and you can feel it. And oh, it's okay because it's covered.
Right. So why Mojave? That's what they had on the lot.
Yeah. We had no idea. We had zero idea.
Right.
We went, we saw it, I sat in it, I fell in love.
Her face, I was like, I saw her face light up. I was like, that's it.
I told him,
bad idea.
Yeah, I told him I'm not leaving without this truck. But we didn't know. You know, what's a Mojave? What's a Rubicon? We had zero idea. We just needed something to flat tow, and we needed something that had that extra space in the back because we were living and traveling full time in our RV.
Yeah.
So that the back part of our GMC Sierra kind of turned into like an attic.
Yeah,
it
exactly.
was extra storage, things that we can't fit in the RV, things that we don't use all the time. We have a large water bladder that we use when we boondock. So we had to have a space for these things.
Yeah.
Which is how we ended up in the Gladiator.
Right.
And then the Mojave, I mean, they had maybe 2 or 3 other ones on the lot.
Right.
But we liked this one. We thought it was cool.
Right. So we got the lower control arm skids on there. Around this time, it's starting to be fall and winter, so we start making our way down to the southwest because this is where we spend our winters.
Down in Arizona.
Yep. And down in Arizona, we were boondocking.
Long-term visitor areas.
Right, one of the long-term visitors areas down there. We were getting water, and Mike.
Tim.
Damn. Tim from Rock and Slow Rollers we were getting water, and he rolled up and to get water as well. And he looked, what did he say?
He said, "That's a nice Jeep. It'd look a lot better with some scratches on it."
Yeah.
And then he went on to introduce himself as, you know, a member of this Jeep club that is basically full of other full-time people.
Right.
And yeah, we met up with this other club. They're the ones who really got us into, wow, this is cool.
They initiated us into the world of Jeeping, because we pretty much every other day, every weekend, we would go out.
Yep.
And we would go into these Arizona washes, and then we would get those Arizona pinstripes. We did not buy this $65,000 truck to take it out in all these trails and wreck it.
We did not.
When we first got this thing, I was like polishing the scratches. Like, I didn't even want to get scratches on this thing.
Like, when we first got it, when we were at my dad's, Nick washed it, and then when he would go and close the door, I would go behind him and wipe off the fingerprints.
Yeah.
Like,
that's how, I mean, we love this thing. We still love this thing. So anyways, the pinstripes. So we got the pinstripes. We learned to not care about the pinstripes.
The first few hurt, for sure.
Yeah, and it'll buff out.
No.
They don't buff out. Not the deep ones.
Nope.
So you learn not to care about that stuff, but we still were having a really good time in the Jeep, but we were still hearing a lot of chatter from underneath the Jeep. Mm-hmm. We weren't necessarily going out on hard trails, just that we found ourselves on these trails with this Jeep group. You know, most people, when they get Jeeps, they'll immediately put tires and wheels and bumpers, and that's a great way to do it.
And
we wanted more of a purpose-filled upgrade path.
Yeah, but I wonder if with some of those other folks who, you know, immediately jump into the upgrades, they've had Jeeps before. So they know where
exactly
the problem areas are.
Right.
So it makes sense to like just jump in and be like, all right, we know these tires aren't going to cut it. This isn't going to cut it.
Right. We
had to learn as we were going.
Exactly. But don't feel that if you don't have any of those things, you can't get out, because that's not the case.
Right.
We still don't have a winch.
True.
We have dumped all of our money on other like suspension things and beefing up the suspension. More on that in a minute. But January, February rolls around, so now it's time for Winter 4x4 Jamboree. Mm-hmm. We're really excited because this is our first Jeep event. We did 3 trails there. We got hung up pretty bad on East Rim.
We were stock.
Yes, fully stock, still 33s, and we found the limit of what that Jeep can do. And from then on out, we knew that we had to have a lift on this thing if we were going to still drive it the way we wanted to. Mm-hmm. So that's when we went to Wolf Off Road to Angie to have
Angie and John.
to have 37s put on, and we had an 1.5-inch spacer put in. And we re-geared to 488, and that's all we did. We left the stock wheels, left the stock bumper. We didn't really need a winch. We're still on the Southwest. There's not a lot of trees to winch to anyways. We were just really trying to get clearance. So we got the lift, and then everything was great after that. Until Easter Jeep Safari. And then Easter Jeep Safari, we did 16 trails.
Oh my gosh.
And we have destroyed the bottom of that Jeep. The stock skids are still holding on, but man, there was so much chatter from underneath the rig.
I think the trails we had chosen when we got there were mostly okay. It was when we started wheeling with Steve.
Oh yeah, freaking love Steve.
Yes. He, not pushing us, but he was kind of allowing us outside of our comfort zone.
Yeah. But also as a safety net to pull us out in case we get trouble.
For sure. And you know, he's really knowledgeable out on these trails, so it made us comfortable to try harder things, and that's when we really started to realize, okay.
Yeah, Poison Spider, 6s, 7s, like that's the top end of 1.5-inch lift.
And we made it.
We did
but
make it.
It wasn't always pretty.
We've always made it to wherever we've gone. Holy Cross, if you've watched that video, definitely go back and watch that. It's just we need more clearance.
And I think it's kind of a comfort thing too. To not have to worry so much when you find yourself on some of these trails.
Right.
To just be able to not think, not worry as much.
Yeah.
Of course, you still got to be smart about it, but a little extra comfort.
Exactly. So that brings us to our second lift. We're heading down to Arizona in about 5 days. We're headed down to Trail Hero, but first we're going to go have some more work done on the Jeep. I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, get back to see Angie and John again.
Yes, because this lift is going to be serious. The Mojave I'm not gonna say anything.
Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna say anything because I don't want to give it away. Yeah, I'll just say it that. I'm gonna move on to something else because I'm gonna start spilling beans because I'm super excited about it. So disadvantages in the Mojave. If we were to do this all over again, we would have gone with the Rubicon.
Right.
The Mojave is great if you're in the Southwest and you're desert running, but we just found that we love like rock crawling.
Right.
And like.
And again, we didn't know when
Right.
we bought this. We had no idea how much, well, really, that this world even existed.
Exactly.
And that we would love it.
Oh my
so
gosh,
much.
we found our people. We found our band of misfits is in the Jeep world, our Jeep people.
Yeah, the rock crawling is, but yeah, so a Rubicon. We would have chosen a Rubicon for the way that we use.
Right, because the Mojave has a lack of a front locker. That has become a big deal lately.
Mm-hmm.
There are several times now where we could have gotten out of something had we had a front locker. The front sway bar disconnect, that's another disadvantage of the Mojave, which you can solve with the Apex Auto Links, the disconnects, which work great.
Yeah.
Expensive, but very worth it.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still left with a 2.72:1 in 4 low, and the Rubicon's got 4:1 crawl ratio. So we're using a lot of left foot braking, where we wouldn't have to otherwise. So big 3 disadvantages. If you're gonna be rock crawling, just go ahead with the Rubicon.
Yeah.
I'm cold, shivering. So things we would have done differently, definitely obviously would have gone with the Rubicon. I would not have gone with the 1.5" spacer. I would have gone with something at least 2 inches.
At least.
Because by the time you air down, you're gonna lose that clearance. So we're on an 1.5", and by the time we air down, we've pretty much negated that clearance that we've gained with that 1.5" puck.
Yeah.
So the things we would have done differently, it all depends on how you are going to use your Jeep.
100%.
You can be fine with the 2-inch AAV spacer. If you're gonna do the 2-inch spacer, I would do this shock relocation brackets. That's one of the biggest mistakes I think that we made on this, is because we had that spacer in there and we did not put a shock relocation bracket, so now we're losing some of that droop. And the other big disadvantage is there's only an 8-inch stroke on these OEM Foxes, and so now you're losing even more of that. And so when we're off-roading, it's very clunky. You're feeling it hit that max droop, and that's just another big reason why we're gonna end up doing these big upgrades. Other than that, we have loved the Gladiator. We enjoy the challenge that it brings, being a longer wheelbase.
Right.
We enjoy driving a tank on the trails. It just is big, it's huge, it doesn't look like it should belong in some of these places. So we enjoy the challenge, and we're like all Gladiator all the way in. We have big plans for the future to bring in other types of stuff into the channel. It's still gonna be Gladiator stuff. But yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah. So overall, we like the Mojave.
Yes, absolutely.
We've just had to make some tweaks to make it work for us. But I feel like you kind of do that with Jeeps anyway.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, if you're going to be out and you're going to be running trails, you're going to have something that you upgrade or switch out, or
Yeah,
it's just kind of part of it.
part of it for sure. If you have any questions about the Gladiator or the Mojave in general, let us know in the comments below. We've got a lot of experience with this thing, on and off road. I think that's it. Also, if you like the merch, if you like the shirt, farfromordinarylife.com/merch. We gotta think of a good snappy, like, get all your merch from farfromordinarylife.com/merch.
You could do the jingle again.
Far from ordinary life.